We do have a snowy scene on our presentation, but it's very sunny here right now, so that's a good thing. We just wanted to mention that you should be muted on the webinar when you come in, just so that there's no background noise. And then also to let you know that we will be recording this presentation. And if you have any questions, feel free to enter them into the chat. We will try and answer individual questions in the chat. And then if there's questions that would be better for the whole group, then we'll answer those at the end during our Q&A session. So I will go ahead and get started, and I will shut my video off for now, just so that there's not any distraction. So today we will be talking about the application process for the engineering management program at the University of Colorado in Boulder. And this is kind of the rundown of what we'll cover. So we'll do a welcome to myself and to other members that may answer questions for you during this process. We'll cover graduate programs that we offer. We'll talk about the application process for our master's program, dual degree options, and graduate certificates. And then we'll have a Q&A session at the very end. So I'm Kendra Thibeault. I'm the admissions and graduate advisor for the EMP, or Engineering Management Program. I've been employed at CU since 2000 and with the program since 2011. I received my bachelor's in psychology from CU Boulder, my elementary education license from CU Boulder, and then I'm currently completing my master's in higher education at CU Boulder. And then Kyle Freeman, many of you may have interacted with him through email or maybe phone conversations, and he's also going to be answering questions in the chat. He is our office manager for the program, and he has been employed with us since 2018, and he is currently completing his bachelor's here in speech, language, and hearing sciences. So the programs we offer are the Masters of Engineering and Engineering Management, which is 30 credit hours. We also offer dual degree programs that are 45 credit hours in aerospace engineering, computer science, electrical, computer and energy engineering, and mechanical engineering. And then we also offer 6 graduate certificates: project management, managing operational excellence and quality systems, engineering management and aerospace engineering, innovation and entrepreneurship, leadership and management, and Six Sigma statistical practitioner. These are our application deadlines for the master's degree, which you can also find on our admissions tab on our program page. So the next deadline will be for fall 2020, and the deadline is coming up in about a month. So we encourage people to submit their application before that deadline. We can accept materials after these deadlines, but it's preferable to get everything completed by this deadline so that we can start reviewing your application and get you in time to get registered and everything for fall. Our fall semester starts in August, at the end of August. And then the spring and fall deadlines, or the spring and fall applications for 2021 will be opening at the beginning of July. So you'll be able to apply for those terms at that time. Here's our general eligibility criteria. We do ask that you have an engineering or technical undergrad degree. We do allow non-engineering majors to apply, but you may have to take our prerequisite course of EMEN 5000 Engineering Principles. And this will kind of teach you a little bit more about what engineers face. So if you are working with engineers or you find that you're managing engineers, this would be a great class for you. We also do require that you have a 3.0 or the equivalent GPA from an undergrad accredited institution. We don't require work experience, but we do find that it is beneficial if you have some experience or internship experience. And this is basically what we require for the application. So we'll send out these slides later. There are some links in here to different things like the online application. And so the online application will ask for your basic information, application fee, personal statement, resume, transcripts, test scores if they are required, letters of recommendation, tuition classification, and then sensitive data that may be required for your particular application. So the basic information is name, address, education, honors, other background information. The application fees are $60 for domestic applications and then $80 for international applications. And that can be paid online when you submit your application. The personal statement is, the purpose is to express the interest in the program. So we also find that this is a good opportunity to include maybe justification for why you may have a lower GPA, or just any other experience that might not be anywhere else on your application. And we do ask that people do limit this to one page, just because it can be a lot when we're reviewing applications if there's more. And then you can upload that as a doc or PDF file. Your resume, this is also to include relevant work experience, internships, co-ops, or other experiences that you feel like might be relevant for your application to our program. We ask that you limit this to 2 pages, but we realize that depending on your experience, there may be, it may go beyond that, and this also can be uploaded in the same files as the personal statement. You will be asked to upload unofficial transcripts. So this means that you can scan undergrad and graduate transcripts that you have in your possession, so they don't have to be official from the university. And those can be scanned in at the time that you apply. If you are an international applicant, you will be asked to provide native language version of the transcript and degree document and English translations. You should include any college work, even if it shows up as a transfer credit on your transcripts. You should include all transcripts from any institution that you attended. And then if you are admitted, you will have 1 semester to get official transcripts to the university. So the GRE is not required if you have at least a 3.0 GPA. We do not accept the GMAT. We do look for about mid 150 range or higher. For international applicants, you may be required to take an English proficiency exam, and you can check the international admissions page for countries that this is required for, and then you can also see our scores that we require for those individual tests. We require 3 letters of recommendation. These should be from current professors, previous professors, supervisors. These can be from a company that you worked with as a professional, or maybe an internship. And then we have a little bit more guidance on the type of letters of recommendation we look for depending on your work experience. The system accepts incoming letters before and after submission of application. I am sorry about that. Those are my dogs in the background. So the system does allow that these incoming letters from your recommenders can come in after the deadline. You can also check the status of your recommendations by logging into the portal. And then you can also resend the links if your recommenders are having issues with finding their link. You may also ask that they check their spam or junk folder if they're having issues with finding the link. And then you will receive an email when the recommendations are coming in through the system. You will also be asked to provide tuition classification information. I've provided the link to the Office of the Registrar, who actually determines your residency. So whether you would be paying in-state or out-of-state tuition. And then we also have the tuition rates for in-state and out-of-state on this slide. Sensitive data may not be required for everybody, but if you do have some non-academic suspension or criminal history, you will be asked to provide that information in the application. And as kind of outlined on this slide, these are not automatic rejections for your application, but they will be handled by another department that reviews these incidences. So that's basically the admission process for the master's degree. For the dual degree, because our program application is very similar to the other programs that we have dual degrees with, we ask that you apply to those programs first and instead of doing two separate applications. And this will save you time and money, and your recommenders won't have to be sending the same letter twice. And so once you complete your application with the other program, we ask that you notify us at the emp@colorado.edu. And then I will reach out to that program to get a copy of your application, and then we can review your application for possible admission to the dual degree program with our program and whichever other program you had applied to. And then certificate application deadlines are a little bit later. That's because there's not as much to process. It's a little bit simpler of a process. I do have a caveat on the bottom of this slide that if you are an international applicant, you may refer to the International Student and Scholar Services Office, and they may be able to kind of walk through with you. Typically, international students are not eligible to complete a certificate but this may differ based on your visa status. But CU Boulder will not issue a student visa if you're not already on a student visa or maybe another visa option. So it's always best to check with them since they are definitely the experts on that area. And then the certificate eligibility criteria is a little bit different. We do allow an undergraduate degree from any academic field, although engineering or technical fields will be beneficial, but they're not required. And the undergraduate GPA is a little bit lower at 2.75. So certificate option may be a good gateway into the degree program if you do have a little bit lower of a GPA. And then, as mentioned, the application process is a little bit more simplified. So you would send the 3 following items to emp@colorado.edu. So there's a link to our 1-page application form, which basically asks your name and basic information, address, if you have a student ID already with CU Boulder, and then which certificate you are looking to do. And then we ask for current professional resume and unofficial transcripts. So the next steps after applying to one of our programs is that you can check your application status anytime in the application portal. If you do have issues with that, you can definitely reach out to us or the graduate admissions office, and one of us can help you walk through how to check your status. We begin reviewing applications about 1 to 2 months before the application deadline. And then you should expect to receive an email decision from the admissions office within 4 to 6 weeks of the deadline. If you're admitted, please follow the steps in your admissions email to confirm your admission. This is a very important step because if you don't do that, then you won't get any further information about registration, anything like that. So this is a really important step that sometimes gets overlooked in the excitement of being admitted. And then I will also send a follow-up email that is program specific. So it will have a plan of study that I will ask you to work on so that I can kind of get a general idea of what you're looking to take and help guide you a little bit on, if there's any prerequisites or issues with if you need to finish the program a little bit more quickly, then I can kind of help you with that. And then applicants can defer their admission for up to a year. So you could defer for a semester or a year. If it's longer than a year, then you can always reapply, and then we could take a look and see if we could waive some of the things that you've already submitted to simplify that process a little bit. And then here are some links to some general guidelines that may be helpful as you're kind of going through the application process. So obviously the graduate application link. They also have a pretty substantial FAQ list for domestic and international students. A link to our certificate application, the registrar's office, which handles registration, records. They handle the tuition classification. And then the bursar's office is the office that handles billing. So if you were interested in looking at doing payment plans once you got admitted, that would be a great resource. And then the Veteran and Military Affairs Office is an excellent resource if you have questions about using your military benefits, or if you're eligible for different programs or classes, things like that. They can definitely help you with that. And so here are just kind of a couple of questions that come up a lot as we're reviewing emails and things like that. So is there an alternative to the GRE if my GPA is below a 3.0? So this is a very common question. As you can imagine, most people do not want to take the GRE if they don't have to. So depending on your GPA, it may be possible to take a few courses with us before applying to help supplement your low GPA. And so if you're pretty close to a 3.0, I would say anywhere above like a 2.75, this might be a great option. And this will help show us that you can be successful in graduate level courses. And, we realize that a lot of our applicants have not been in undergraduate or school at all in several years. And so we realize that you may not be the same student that you were back then. And so this gives you an opportunity to kind of to show that you can be successful in those classes. Another common question is, does the EMP offer funding? And unfortunately, because we are more of a teaching program and not a research program, we do not offer any funding in terms of RA or TA positions. We do, you are allowed to do hourly positions either within the program if there's instructors that are looking for graders or something like that, or you can look to see if there's hourly positions on campus that you may qualify for. And then as I mentioned, our program is eligible for you to use military benefits, but it's definitely best to talk to the Veteran and Military Affairs Office to discuss your specific benefits to make sure that you're using them appropriately. And then finally, does the EMP allow transfer credit? And so the university as a whole at the graduate level does allow up to 9 credits to be transferred. And this would include any coursework you took as a non-degree seeking student or as a certificate student at CU. We typically only allow about 1 to 2 courses outside of our program to apply to our program, and it should be related to the curriculum that we offer. And we just find that, since our program is only 10 courses, if we allowed much more than that, it would kind of dilute what you're actually learning in the program. So that's sort of the end of my presentation. And so if there's any questions out there that anyone has, I can take those now. And Kyle.
And hi, this is Amy Viverito. I work with Kendra in the engineering management program. Kendra, we're having some chat function issues. Okay. Yeah, and so we talked to our OIT contact. He's unable to fix it right now. So what we wanted to do is to open it up. If people have questions, if you want to unmute and ask your question. We may have to kind of take turns. Or if you want to email your questions in, and we can follow up with you directly to emp@colorado.edu. That's the other option. But if anybody has a question that you'd like to ask Kendra or anyone from the program, feel free to unmute and ask, and we can go from there. Thank you.
Hi, Kendra, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hey, this is Kyle Brewer. We've talked a couple of times, so thank you for setting this all up. I had a quick question, and you might have semi-covered it with what transfers. I was looking at it. Are we able to, let's say, if we're still kind of back and forth, go for a certificate and then transfer the certificate classes if they follow on the same EMP guidelines for the full master's program?
Yeah, that's a great question. Sorry, I did kind of skim over that a little bit. So a lot of times students will start with a certificate, and then those classes would definitely transfer to our master's degree. And so you could definitely start with that and see if a lot of times people don't know if they can actually commit to an entire degree. And so that's a good kind of starting point. And then those definitely would count towards the degree if you decided to apply to that later.
All right, thanks. And then I think when you and I spoke, we have, let's say we get accepted and start, is it 4 or 5 years, I believe you said, to complete?
So, I mean, that's definitely dependent on what your situation is like. We do have some full-time students that will finish like in a year and a half, 2 years. But typically our students are working, and so they take 1 to 2 classes per semester. We do offer some summer classes, but they're a little bit more limited. And so I would say in general, it probably takes 3 to 4 years, maybe, depending on what you can handle with work and family.
Okay, thank you. And last thing, and I'll stop because I know other people have questions. For that, speaking of the summer, what would be the application for that? Because I looked, for example, there's like fundamentals of project management this summer. Just was wondering how application worked for that, or if it's too late.
So in general, like for the degree, we don't have summer admissions, but it would be possible to apply to the certificate for summer. It can be hard for some people to start in the summer because the classes are 8 weeks long instead of 15 weeks long, like fall and spring. And so it's a little bit more intense. And so some people, if that's when they start, it can be a little bit challenging if they've been out of school for a little bit, but it's not impossible to do it. It's just, in my experience, it's been difficult sometimes for people.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Hi, Kendra. My name is Patrick Mahoney. I just had a brief question for you regarding the electrical engineering Coursera degree and the engineering management degree. I'm wondering if you accept credits from electrical engineering Coursera and if they accept credits from you guys.
That is a great question. Since that is a very new program, I have not had that question, and I honestly have not thought about that. So let me get back to you on that. I don't know if that is, it's my understanding they're considered like regular credits at CU, but I think I would have to look at that a little bit more. So if you wouldn't mind sending an email to emp@colorado.edu, and then we can follow up with you on that question.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kendra.
Thank you.
Kendra, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Brian Walker. I had a question about the dual degree, just in general. So you get both degrees at the completion of all credits, right? Like it's not one then the other, correct?
Correct. So you would have to finish. So even if you decided you would do all the credits for engineering management and then do all the credits for whichever program you were doing the dual degree with, you would still not complete the degree, both dual degrees, until you finished all the requirements. And so in general, we require that you do 21 credits with us, and then the remaining 24 credits are at the discretion of the other program. And so typically there's a little bit of flexibility with the other program, and sometimes they'll allow you to take more of our classes or, you know, maybe in another area. So it would, but that's just that if you decided you didn't want to do the dual degree anymore, you could definitely stop in the middle and then just say, I just want to do the one degree too.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Kendra, I know we get asked a lot, how long does it take to hear back once you submit your application? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so I think that was on one of the slides. So typically we start looking about 1 to 2 months before the deadline. We start reviewing applications, and then you would definitely hear back within like 4 to 6 weeks from that deadline, hopefully sooner, but you know, we do multiple rounds of reviews. So it just depends on when you actually complete your application. So we're kind of, right now we're finalizing the first round of reviews.
Great, thanks.
There's going to be some more burning questions out there.
I mean, I can ask if we want to just want to give other people some chances. Yeah. So in terms of, and again, I think we've talked about it, but maybe other people have it too, and I want to verify. In terms of some type of transfer credits, I think the issue I saw, if we have a degree that's completed that has a similar, what I feel is a similar course, is that then ineligible to then be a transfer credit? Is that it can only be if it's a non-completed degree? For example, finance?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So if you completed a degree and you counted that course towards your degree, then you can't count it towards our degree.
Okay.
If you did have some extra credits from a degree and you can prove that you did not count those credits towards your degree, then we could definitely look at that. And then as far as if you took a similar class and it's one of our required classes, like you mentioned, finance and accounting, then we could potentially waive that class, but you would still have to have 30 credits to graduate.
Okay, understandable. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone. Hello. You hear
Hello.
me?
Yes.
Hello. Well, thank you, Kendra. Thank you for the information delivered here. So my case is a little bit special because I'm different than you. I'm an international student.
Okay.
And I'm originally from Morocco. I don't know if you know the country. Well, I have met the University of Colorado Boulder here in Casablanca. I don't know if you were here in Casablanca, Kendra. I don't know, but I have met someone from your university and I was interested in engineering management, and he advised me, your university, I've seen the program, it's really interesting, like you said. And for me, I don't know if I'm really eligible for this program, but I will show you what degrees I have and you can tell me. So normally I'm doing a British MBA today in project management with British Council and Cardiff Metropolitan University. I don't know if you know it, here in Morocco. Well, I have a 2 years experience as an engineer, marine engineer, and technical manager for a multinational company. Well, for my academic qualifications, I have a Bachelor of Engineering. This is a 4 years in electromechanical marine engineering. Okay, And so that's all. For my English qualifications, I have TOEFL for 84 points, and I have a cumulative GPA of 3.3. My question is, do I need a GRE test?
It doesn't sound like, but it depends on what scale your school is. I don't know if you're on a 4.0 scale. So I would recommend, if you want to send an email to us, and then we can kind of check on your specific,
Yeah,
let you know a little bit more information
better.
about your specific
Okay.
situation.
Good. That's what I was intending to do. Okay, we will do like this. Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
I will mail you. Okay, I will send an email to you, and that will be appreciated if you could help me and see if I'm okay.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Bye bye. Ciao.
Hi, Kendra. This is Deli. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. My question is, I'm working on getting all my certified transcript translated to English.
Okay.
And I have found a bunch of companies that do that service. If any recommendation that you can give me, or some company accepted by CU that I could reach out to get my translation?
Yeah, so I don't know specifically, but the International Admissions Office, which I can put you in contact with them if you like, or I can send them an email and find out more information. But they would probably know best, since they are the ones that actually evaluate the transcripts.
Okay.
Might know of resources. So if you want to send an email to us, and then I can connect you with them. But that might actually be a good thing to send out to everyone if others have that same question as well. So
yeah, I already did. I sent an email a few minutes ago because I was having issues with the webinar app.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you can respond to that email. If not, I will just email you directly.
Okay.
Yeah, if you can provide that info, it will be great. I will really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, are there any other questions? It looks like the chat might be working now, or you can just unmute yourself at this time.
Hello, Kendra, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, this is Matthew Uresco. So I noticed a lot of the electives for the management program crossover, like with the certificate programs.
Yes.
So like you could, if you chose the right electives, also qualify for a certificate. Would you then like graduate with that certificate, or do you got to apply for that separately?
So we do actually allow our degree students to complete one certificate while they're doing the degree. And so you can declare it, and so it would be on your record, as long as you let us know when you are graduating that you completed that certificate. Then we would send that request over to the registrar, and they would get that on your transcripts, and then you would also receive a certificate that is similar to what the diploma looks like, and so that would be sent out. I think it's about 8 weeks after graduation.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. All right, anybody else? If not, we can definitely go offline with this, and you can send questions to me directly or to our EMP at Colorado.edu.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for attending, and we'll post this webinar to our website, and then I will also send an email out to you all so that you have the recording.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.